The M5-RFP coalition in Mali that led anti-government protests before last month's coup has rejected a political charter pushed through by the ruling military junta. After 3 days of talks with political leaders and civil society groups, the junta's roadmap was meant to chart an agreed transition following the coup. The M5-RFP say that the final version of the charter does not reflect the results of negotiations, which it says must include a majority choice of a civilian interim president. International powers are concerned that ongoing political instability will undermine a joint fight against militants across West Africa. We've asked Mali commentator Kassoum Coulibaly to join us via Skype for more on this story. Kassoum, thanks very much indeed for joining us. A lot of things have been taking place in Mali, but coming to an agreement of a transitional phase seemed to be very difficult to come to.
Yes, of course, because Mali's situation is not so easy, because there is a lot of dispute between the stakeholders in the country, especially with the M5-RFP people. And during this last weekend about the discussion, national consultation, I find that there is a transition document being adopted by the people, but a part of a group of inside the M5 have decided to reject the entire document. But one part also already agreed. This part is the group led by the Imam Mahmoud Diko. And we said that today, I can say that there is a common agreement inside the population about the final document. But there are some small mistakes, but I think that next days we can correct it to be final for all of us.
A sticking point seems to be who might lead this transitional phase. Would it be someone from the military or a civilian? I would imagine the M5 grouping want to make sure that it's a civilian. And the army, by putting on the table that it could be someone from the military, some people might suggest that that's the outcome that they're actually trying to get.
That situation for me, it's a no-problem situation, because you remember during the discussion with the ECOWAS leaders, they have said that we can have a retired military at the position of the president also. Even if we can not have a civilian person, we can have a retired military. So I think that we are following this process, and having those two possibilities in the document for me is not saying that the militaries of the National Committee for Salvation of People wants to have a military in that position. But what is true and sure, the position of the vice president of the transition should be, and can be a military person, because this person will be devoted his work on defense, security, and the foundation of the state. And I'm sure that on that situation, we need to have an agreement with ECOWAS so that we can avoid the sanctions taken by ECOWAS during their last head of states meeting.
How will this leader be chosen? Who is doing the choosing?
Today, we don't know exactly the way we are going to choose him. Yeah. Just after the meeting held in Bamako for the consultation, they have said that the National Committee for Salvation of People will put in place a small commission of people that will decide who will be the next president of the transition. I think that having the trip to Ghana today is to present those conditions and to the president of Ghana to see if those conditions of selecting are very good for us. But I'm sure that this commission will be the same National Committee for the Salvation of People, not more people inside.
ECOWAS has been quite clear that they want a 12-month timeline. The military has been saying at least 18 months. Do you think that there may be a compromise there? And what's the M5 grouping saying about the time period of transition?
I find that the discussion with the M5 coalition is not the timeline of the transition period. I think that, as I said to you before that date, that we are going to an 18-month time. Because the first time the National Committee has proposed 3 years, ECOWAS has proposed 12 months, 1 year, and now we are in the middle as 18 months. I find that this time is quite good for all of us. But in my mind, because of analyzing the situation of Mali, I find that we will go up to 2 years, 24 months. And the M5 have not rejected this timeline, as I know from now. But I find that ECOWAS will continue to push is 12 months to begin. But if we don't reach the goals we are planning we have set during this time, I find that we can postpone the delay to 18th or 24 months to be ready for the next civilian period after the general elections.
In the meantime, how are citizens feeling? What's the sentiment on the ground as they watch this unfold? There was great joy when President Keita resigned. What are they feeling now as there's uncertainty about what happens next?
Now, the population is quite happy because we are going to the end of this 1 month difficult time with the ruling time of the militaries. But on the ground, we are sure that we have now 3 months without any government in Mali. And when we go to the public administration services, there is no work. People are lazy, people are not coming on time and not going on time. And the population is like we are in a stopped way on the condition. But I find that we are hoping that this week we can have a new president of the transition, because the 22nd of September is the National Independence Day of Mali. And we need to have this date as a new beginning time of the transition period. So we are hopefully said that we want a positive way on that situation, but we are still frustrating. But because our country is closed now, no borders are open, and it's difficult time for economic level because most of the companies are now working slowly. So it's a difficult time for losing jobs and money.
All right, so the economy, COVID-19, a big issue. What else might an interim government need to deal with in the country that is a great issue for the citizens?
Yes, this is a great issue for the citizen to come to from the economic situation to a quick recovery. But let me remember that there are some priority activities that has been planned for the transition period, which is how we can rebuild a new constitution for the new institution in the country. How can we negotiate again the peace agreement with the northern rebels, that we can have a final peace agreement that can be put in place. We can also have to fight corruption, because the country has a corruption from top to down, from down to top. So we need to solve this issue also. Also, the COVID-19 pandemic is a priority action. We need to have a look on that. I find that the population is quite optimistic, because the situation we are living now is not very good for us. Even people who are in a good economic and financial situation, it's very bad for the majority of the population, who are maybe up to 90% of poor people in the country.
And national security, also another ongoing issue and a concern for ECOWAS about militants in the region in general. Have there been any incidents in the last few weeks that keep reminding the authorities there that they still have this issue that they need to deal with?
Yes, absolutely. I think that this is the first priority for all of the Malian citizens about the peace and security issues. And instead, different by the coup done in 2012, Now the force are very, very proactive, and they are fighting against the rebels. And I am sure that the positive results get by the military action during this after coup period is been very, very positive in recognition for the international committee, but also for the ECOWAS and the G5 Sahel countries. Now we are in a position where there is sometimes, attacks from the terrorists and jihadists, but generally our army forces are fighting against them and killing them a lot and destroying their arms. And I think that if we continue in that level, people will support the militaries to have the transition. And that's why, because they are doing this good job, most of the people want the military to be in transition ruling period. So, but because we need to align us with the ECOWAS, protocol, so we need to see how we can have the best decision that we can avoid sanctions taken by ECOWAS some times ago.
I'm just seeing a report that 6 people, including a pregnant woman, were killed when the ambulance that were in hit a landmine in southern Mali. And I guess this again keeps pointing to the very dangerous situation that's simmering there.
Yes, it's a very, very sad situation we can have in that situation, because this is not something because the military are now in power. This happened many times in the country. We need to go as fast as possible to have this peace agreement, so together with all the rebels and the citizens, we can fight against terrorism and jihadism and to bring development in the north part of Mali. Because when we see the development of this situation, we can see that young people are going to that war situation, jihadist situation, because they don't have any job to do and they are looking for money. If we need to bring agriculture, economic development at local level in all parts of Mali, I'm sure that in all parts of the G5 Sahel countries, I'm sure that we can bring peace and development for forever. And this is a sad situation, but we think that together we can join our hands from ECOWAS countries and also for AU level to fight against this poor security situation in Mali and in West Africa in general.
Okay, and that's where we'll leave it. Thank you so much indeed. Merci beaucoup, mon frère, comme toujours.
Merci à vous.
Always great. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
All right, that's Kassoum Coulibaly speaking to us from Mali. He's our regular correspondent there, giving us an update on the situation between the military junta that's running the country at the moment and the hopes for a transitional authority of some kind with civilian influence that's being closely watched by the regional body ECOWAS.